Welcome back to another episode of TRIVI-yeah! I am your host, Dean Felix, and it is so good to have you back here for another episode. This is, of course, the podcast where you can learn something new, feel good about the things you already know, and maybe at the same time fold that laundry that's been sitting in the basket for days and days. Get to it. First things, of course, very first, the answer to last week's bonus question is New Zealand. Would you like to know what the question was? Then go back and listen to the previous episode. There's a lot of great information in that episode about sport climbing, and that information is now already outdated because Janja Ganbret has won 2 additional gold world championship medals in between these 2 episodes. In Seoul, Korea, she won both lead and bouldering. But it was close this time. It was close in bouldering. It came down to the final boulder. Oriane Bertone almost had it. She was just a couple fingertips away from getting it. But no, Janja continues her domination, though perhaps the gap between her and the other competitors has shortened. At least the gap between her and Oriane Bertone. I know what you're thinking, you're dying for another goals update, but no guys, let's take a week off from the goals update, okay? Let's take a week off. Let's give the Doughboys and Jack Quaid and my pursuit to voice a cartoon character a break for a moment. Instead, let's do a new segment. Do you have a friend? Would you please tell a friend? Tell them about the show, then I would be your friend, but you don't have to tell me about the show, cause I make the show that you should tell your friend all about. Thanks. That's right, it's a new segment where I beg for you to please share word about the show. Please, mister. Please, won't you help me, please? So, yeah, numbers have been going up for each episode as they go by, and we love it when number go up. We love number go up. And the biggest reason why number go up is because you guys have been sharing this show already with your friends, and I want more, I'm so greedy, I want more, please. Look, if you like the show, and you want this show to continue and be available every week, then I really ask for your help in letting people know about this show. It really, really helps me, in addition to, of course, the likes and follows and subscribe and the comments and all that. Self-promotion is something that I'm just not particularly good at, and it's not as easy to do as people might think. Like, I have been on Reddit, and in a subreddit about podcasts, I found a post that was like 6 months old. Someone asking about, hey, anybody know about any trivia podcasts that are maybe funny and they kind of go into detail about the subject matter? I'm like, oh, wow, that's like exactly what my show is. So I left a comment on this 6-month-old thread saying, hey, yeah, come and check out TRIVI-yeah. You know, I've been making this pod and I think you'll really like it. And the mods deleted that that comment, because they don't allow self-promotion. You have to have 90% of your participation in a subreddit be about other things to self-promote anything at all. And I don't have time to make 9 random posts in a podcast subreddit just so I can put one comment on a 6-month-old thread for somebody that might be interested in the show. This show already takes a lot of time for me to make. I do it all myself. All of these questions I am researching and I am learning as I'm making it. I'm not pulling all of this off just off the dome. No, if I wasn't researching all of these questions myself, I would probably get most of them wrong. And I would love to make little videos for like Instagram and TikTok that promote the show and stuff, but if I took the time to make those, then there's no way I'd be able to get these episodes done each week, which I'm barely making happen now, or the quality of the episodes would go way down, and can't afford that. But I love making this show. I want to keep making this show. I want this to be my thing. And if you like the show, then I ask you to please help me. Tell your friends about the show. Maybe make a social post about the show. Like I said, I've already had some of you do this already, and I have seen an increase in the numbers just from those posts. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And guys, let's make this happen because I love this show, and I love you guys for listening. And most importantly, my future friendship with Jack Quaid depends on it. If you'd like to email the podcast, you of course can. TRIVIYeahpodcast@gmail.com. That's TRIVIYEAHPODCAST@gmail.com. You thought I was going to forget how to spell podcast there for a second, didn't you? Oh no, steel trap up here. Like I said before, I'm researching all of these questions. I'm learning a lot of this stuff for the very first time, so that means I might get some stuff wrong. I am not afraid to be wrong. If I get something wrong, email, let me know, and I will correct it on the show. You can also maybe share with me your favorite trivia, and I'll share it here. Oh, wow. I can't wait for that to happen. Well, I got 10 multiple choice questions coming your way, a whole show chocked full of trivia goodness, ooey gooey trivia goodness just for you. So let's get it started. Your TRIVI-yeah podcast quiz begins right after this. Welcome back to TRIVI-yeah. I'm Dean Felix. Many moons ago, my job was to drive actor John Larroquette to and from work each day. Now, I realize a lot of people don't know who John Larroquette is, and that is a shame, so allow me to give you a criminally truncated bio for him. John Larroquette is most famous for playing Assistant District Attorney Dan Felding on the sitcom Night Court from the 80s and early 90s. This is how I first learned about him. I thought it was hilarious in this show, and the critics agreed, considering that he won the Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actor 4 years in a row, from 1985 through 1988. Later, he won another Emmy for a guest performance on The Practice, and a Tony for How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying on Broadway. So he's a pretty good actor. Now, I met John post-Emmys, pre-Tony. I drove him back when he was starring in a show for the Hallmark Channel called McBride. This is a time that John would probably describe as a dark period of his career. He was a little overqualified for this job, and as his driver, maybe I was too. Though I can't say that I had the awards to back that up. But getting to drive him was a really cool experience, and exhausting. I was a production assistant for the show, or a PA as they're called. Every day I would wake up before the sun and drive about 25 minutes to Marina Del Rey to pick up John, drive another 50 minutes to the Hallmark Studios in Simi Valley, and then I'd work as a PA all day, usually manning the bell that told people if we were rolling and they needed to be quiet or if we cut. It's 2 rings for rolling, 1 ring for cut. In between rolling and cut, this is when I would sneak some sleep in, and this was a very dangerous game that I would play. Through my earpiece, I would hear the director say, rolling, and I'd go ring, ring, and then immediately fall asleep. Jolting awake when I heard cut, then ring. Like I said, super dangerous. This is not something you want to mess up. Ringing that bell during a take could easily mean your job when you're a PA. And honestly, I have no idea how I pulled it off. I swear, I never messed this up, not once. See, I told you I was overqualified. Anyway, after a long day of shooting, I would drive John all the way back home, I would drive myself back home, and then get 4 or so hours of actual sleep before doing it all again the next day. That's Hollywood, baby! Well, Simi Valley. All right, back to John Larroquette. He is intimidatingly intelligent. Just super quick, super smart. He might be the smartest guy I've ever met. A little prickly, but also thoughtful and generous. And if you get him talking about his family, well, the man is just downright warm. The first time I ever heard about podcasts was from John Larroquette. During one of our many drives, he said that his son Jonathan was one of the pioneers of the medium with his comedy podcast called Yeah Dude, which, full disclosure, I've never listened to still. But in my defense, I am very defensive, so back off. No, I should give it a listen. You know what? Okay. All right, I promise to listen to at least one episode of Yeah Dude before next week, and maybe I'll tell you guys what I think. Unless I hate it. I owe that much to John for introducing me to podcasts. I just thought it was kind of cool that after all these years after John Larroquette told me about podcasts that I'd be hosting my own. And who knows, maybe I'll win an Emmy for voicing a cartoon someday. And then I can bring this whole thing full circle. Do they give Emmys for that? For voicing cartoons? Man, I hope so, because I think that would finally get the Doughboys and Jack Quaid's attention. But first things first. It's time for question 1. Time for question 1. Time for question 1. Time. Podcast is a portmanteau of iPod and broadcast. As you've probably at least inferred, a portmanteau is when you take 2 words and smush them together to create a new word. Like how brunch is a portmanteau of breakfast and lunch. Benifer is Ben and Jennifer. Or was, and TRIVI-yeah is trivia and yeah. Before this newer definition was coined, a portmanteau was simply a suitcase that opened into 2 separate equal sections, because when traveling, you never want your unmentionables getting mixed in with your mentionables. This new definition of word plus word equals word for portmanteau was first introduced by author Lewis Carroll of Alice in Wonderland fame back in 1871, when he had one of his characters say the following. You see, it's like a portmanteau. There are two meanings packed up into one word. The character that said this is not an original creation of Lewis Carroll. He borrowed this character from old nursery rhymes, dating back to at least as early as 1791. What is this character's name? Is it A, the Snark, B, Humpty Dumpty, C, Little Miss Muffet, or D, the March Hare? The answer is B, Humpty Dumpty. In the original nursery rhyme, Humpty Dumpty isn't explicitly described as an egg, though the rhyme is thought to be a riddle with egg being the answer. Oh, sorry, spoilers. In Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass, Alice says that Humpty is, quote, exactly like an egg, a comment to which Humpty does not take kindly. Well, she then clarifies that, no, he looks like an egg, not that he is one. Wow. Great non-apology by Alice there. Real, I'm sorry if you were offended level stuff. I'm guessing that she got into politics later in life. No need for excitement or hullabaloo. It's just question 2. The McDLT was a menu item at McDonald's from 1985 to 1991. Its name is a portmanteau/acronym combining McDonald's with lettuce and tomato, and its packaging was also an old-school portmanteau, coming in a divided styrofoam box that its slogan told consumers kept the hot side hot and the cool side cool. There's a commercial for the McDLT starring pre-Seinfeld Jason Alexander, back when he had hair and was still just a Broadway star. In this spot, he hams it up for the cheeseburger, singing and dancing through the streets with a group of people who are all way too excited about lunch. Okay, lunch is pretty great. But my favorite McDonald's song was the McDonald's menu song, which was part of a contest campaign. 80 million vinyl flexi discs, or basically small records, were distributed via newspapers, ad sheets, and through the mail, and on these tiny records, when you played them on your record player, you'd hear a singer teaching a class this McDonald's menu song. This song is insanely hard to sing, and on the records, the teacher would sing the song, and then the class would try. And on all but one of the 80 million distributed records, the class would crash and burn in their attempt. But the lucky owner of the single record where the class nails it, they would win $1 million. I vividly remember playing this record when I was a kid, and when the class ultimately blew it at the last possible moment, I felt heartbreak stronger than the time when I asked my 8th grade crush to dance and was shot down. Oh, man. This was an incredible marketing campaign. All right, here's the song. I'm going to sing it for you. I'm going to try to do it all in one breath, and like the class in 79,999,999 copies of this record, I will fail. Big Mac McDLT, a quarter pounder with some cheese fillet, a fish, a hamburger, a cheeseburger, a Happy Meal, McNuggets, tasty golden french fries, regular, a larger size and salad, chef or garden, or a chicken salad, oriental, big breakfast, egg McMuffin, hot cakes and sausage, maybe biscuits, bacon, egg and cheese, a sausage, Danish hash brown 2, and for dessert, hot apple pies and sundaes, 3 varieties of soft drink, 3 kinds of shakes and chocolate, chip cookies, and a drink, a Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, an orange drink, a Sprite, and coffee, decaf 2, a loaf of milk, and also orange juice. I love McDonald's, good time, great days, and I get this all in one place. I did it! I did it! Give me my $1 million! Give it to me! Wow. I just blew my own mind. Okay. So what year did this musical marketing campaign for McDonald's debut? Here's a hint. John Larroquette also won an Emmy this year. Is it A, 1985, B, 1986, C, 1987, or D, 1988? The answer is D, 1988. In February of 1989, the winning vinyl was discovered by 13-year-old Scotty Landreth of Galax, Virginia. He didn't even know about the contest when he found the flexi disc. He was simply rifling through newspapers looking to start a fire in his family's wood stove when he came across it. Fortunately, he played it and called the number as directed at the end of the track to claim his prize. Well, I don't know if fortunately is right, because there's a sad story on Vice.com about what happened with Scotty's family after winning the contest, if you'd like to search for it. No mention of me not getting to dance with my crush, though. Question 3. They say Joey Chestnut is the Yanya Garnbrett of hot dog eating. Okay, no one says that, but he has been basically dominating the sport since 2007 and holds the record at 76 hot dogs consumed in 10 minutes at the annual Nathan's Famous International Hot Dog Eating Contest. If you're wondering if McDonald's has ever sold hot dogs, they did give it a go in the mid-90s with the Mick Hot Dog, which failed. The McPowers that McBee respectfully waited until former McDonald's owner Ray Kroc died before the McHotDog debuted, as he had always prohibited hot dogs from being on the menu because he negatively viewed them as mystery meat. Perhaps he never got a good look at the McRib. I've ordered 2 McRibs in my lifetime, and I've eaten 1. Back to Joey Chestnut. Why is he so good at rapidly eating hot dogs? Well, there's no one factor to point to. His jaw and throat are physically strong. His stomach is large and can quadruple in size when filled. His focus and mental preparation is high level, and his gag reflex is non-existent. And there's also his technique of dunking the buns in his favorite condiment, water, which makes them easier to swallow. I find the event hard to watch. My gag reflex is very existent, as that second McRib can attest. Joey seems unbeatable, and that's mostly been true since he burst into the competitive eating scene. But he has been beaten before. Who is the last competitor to defeat Joey Chestnut in the Nathan's Famous International Hot Dog Eating Contest? Quick note, Joey didn't compete in 2024, so I'm not counting that year. Is it A, Matt Stoney, B, Takaru Tsunami Kobayashi, C, Patrick Deep Dish Bertoletti, or D, Adam Beard Meets Food Moran? The answer is A, Matt Stoney. Matt defeated Joey in 2015, breaking Chestnut's streak at 8 victories in a row. Stoney holds several world records in eating, including frozen yogurt, pumpkin pie, and something called slug burgers. We gotta get this guy a nickname. Burger Slugger? What about Froyo Bro? Or the Pie Hole? Email me your best suggestions at TRIVI-yeah podcast@gmail.com. Best nickname wins bragging rights and all the glory that comes with it.
Why are we here? Where are we going? Who is behind all of this? What should I get for lunch? What is this question for?
Sadly, hot dogs are not very good for your health. Not because of the mystery nature of their meat, but because they're high in nitrates. According to WebMD, nitrates are added to cured meats to improve their color and taste and to act as a preservative, fighting off bacteria. So that part about nitrates is good. Unfortunately, when they break down in your body, they form nitrosamines, and during their formation, they can create free radical intermediates, which can damage DNA and cause cancer. There are a lot of vegetables that naturally contain nitrates, usually leafy veggies like lettuce, cabbage, and spinach, but also broccoli, cauliflower, pumpkin, and carrots. But aren't vegetables considered to be good for your health? Yes, obviously. So what's the deal? Well, when your body breaks down these natural nitrates, instead of nitrosamines, they create nitric oxide because of the antioxidants also in the vegetables. Sorry, I'm flashing back to the insane amount of hot dogs I ate this summer. Oh man, I gotta veg it up. So, nitrates are the preservatives that are added to meats. A different type of preservative occurs naturally during the fermentation of wine, but is also added in order to extend a wine's shelf life so it can get oh so fine. Every bottle of wine in the United States will tell you that these preservatives are in them on the label, where it says contains what? A, sorbates. B, sulfites. C, propionates. Or D, benzoates. The answer is B, sulfites. Check your next bottle of wine and you'll probably see contains sulfites on there. But don't worry, they aren't considered as dangerous as nitrates. Instead of nitrogen atoms bonding to oxygen atoms, sulfite ions contain sulfur. Now, does that mean that you can smell sulfur in wine? The most sensitive smellers actually can. The warmer the wine, the more likely it is to have an egg-like aroma when opened. But you can fix this by decanting your wine, chilling it for a few minutes, or blaming it on the dog.
Hey, fellas, wait till you hear this. Oh, my gosh. Oh, don't say. I can't believe it.
What y'all talking about over there?
Nothing. We were just
Talking about question 5.
Well, shoot.
Preserves, jam, or jelly? One of the great quandaries of life that one ponders while blocking the pantry aisle of their local grocery store. Deciding between the three can be difficult, mostly because the majority of us don't know what the differences between them are. They look the same. They appear to have the same fruit flavors, Why must the grocery gods delight in vexing us so? Probably because we keep eating hot dogs instead of making those salads like we promised ourselves we would and wasting all of that spinach. We all do this. Not just me, right? I'm probably half hot dog by now. Allow me to help us all keep that pantry aisle clear in the future. Preserves and jams have pieces of fruit in them, while jelly does not, as jelly is made by using only the juice of the fruit. Preserves are thicker than jam because they have larger pieces of fruit in them. Preserves also probably have seeds in them. Jam might have seeds in it. Jelly ain't got no seeds. Jelly ain't got no seeds. If you're looking for seeds, then please avoid the jelly because jelly ain't got no seeds. In order to give jelly its gelatinous quality, another ingredient is added along with the sugar. This gelling agent is sometimes added to jam as well. It's a soluble dietary fiber derived from the cell walls of fruits, usually citrus, and is commercially available as either a white to light brown powder or in liquid form. What is this gelling agent called? Is it A, pectin, B, collagen, C, malt, or D, agar? The answer is A, pectin. Gelatin is made from animal collagen, but most American fruit jellies won't have it as an ingredient. But Jell-O does, so strict vegetarians will have to get their daily dose of jiggling by doing it themselves. Every day, you gotta get your steps in, and you need to get your jiggles. Oh, bro! Bro, this is 6, bro! Bro, did you make this? Oh, bro! Bro, this is so 6! Is this your question? Bro, this question is 6! Jiggle Jiggle is a 2022 single produced by Manchester-based DJs Duke and Jones. Perhaps you've heard it, particularly if you've been on TikTok in the past 3 years, where a clip of the song garnered over 50 million views in its first 2 months, and was also used in 2.6 million additional TikTok videos as users danced to it. The song goes, "My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I'd like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure." That's all I'm going to give you. You're welcome. These very deep and impactful lyrics were written by an unlikely source. They're from a show called Weird Weekends, a television documentary series starring a British-American journalist. In an episode from its 3rd and final season in 2000, the host tries his hand at rapping at a New Orleans radio station and creates these lyrics. Fast forward to 2022, when this journalist was interviewed by YouTuber Amelia de Moldenberg, aka Amelia Dims, on her web series Chicken Shop Date. On said date, he performs this rap for Amelia, and it's this performance which was then auto-tuned by Duke and Jones for their viral TikTok. The success of that TikTok then led to Duke and Jones producing a studio single of Jiggle Jiggle with the writer, which then went on to win a gold record. Who is this British-American journalist / rapper? A. Matt Lucas. B. Louis Theroux. C. Mehdi Hassan. D. John Oliver. The answer is B. Louis Theroux. Jiggle Jiggle was later remixed by Jason Derulo, with a video starring Louis and Amelia. Jason adds his own lyrics to this track, which of course include him singing his own name. I'm not going to do it. Once again, you're welcome. Hi, I've got some great news. You just died and gone to question 7. Before it was a social media app that showed you the same stuff over and over, TikTok was just an onomatopoeic sound that clocks make, or rather, pendulum clocks make. Originally conceived by Galileo in the early 1600s, pendulum clocks became a reality in 1656 when they were invented by Dutch scientist Christian Huygens. And their introduction into timekeeping increased the accuracy of clocks from around 15 minutes per day down to 15 seconds per day. In order for a pendulum clock to keep accurate time, the clock must be level. If they aren't level, then the pendulum will swing more to one side than the other. This means that whenever you hear someone try to hurry you up by saying tick-tock, tick-tock, you can ignore them because they're mimicking an inaccurate clock. Their timing can't be trusted. A working clock should have even intervals. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Gravity is what makes a pendulum clock work. it can also make it not work, because gravity isn't the same everywhere on Earth. If you move a pendulum clock from sea-level New Orleans to mile-high Denver, you're going to lose around 18 seconds per day. And with America's addiction to work, that adds up. Now, flat earthers won't like hearing this, but you can prove the Earth's rotation with a pendulum. Well, with a big enough pendulum. Naturally, a pendulum will swing back and forth in a straight line once it gets going. If you suspend a heavy pendulum from a high roof above a circular area on the floor with marks on that area so that you can monitor where the pendulum swings, you'll notice that its plane of oscillation will appear to change throughout the day, unless you're on the equator. And the closer the pendulum is to one of Earth's poles, north or south, the greater this change. It's because the Earth is moving, specifically rotating, spinning, jiggling, twirling, yeah. And it's only on the equator where the pendulum's plane of oscillation remains fixed relative to Earth's rotation. This type of flat earther-owning pendulum has a specific name. Name that pendulum. Is it A, Foucault pendulum, B, horologic pendulum, C, Newtonian pendulum, or D, latitudinal pendulum? The answer is A, Foucault pendulum, named after its creator, French physicist Jean-Bernard Léon Foucault. A core belief of flat earthers is that the Earth does not rotate. Instead, the sun and moon orbit above us. This is why, for moments when you encounter a flat earther, it's good to always keep a gigantic pendulum in the guest room.
There we go. That's 20 points, plus I used all my tiles. That's another 50 for 70 points.
It's not a word.
Yes, it is.
It's not a word.
It is a word.
I'll look it up.
Okay.
I'm looking it up.
All right.
I'll show you. I'll show you.
You'll see.
Oh my gosh. Here it is. Look. To ask a lot of questions is to questionate.
I told you.
In music, flat means lower in pitch. The flat symbol looks like a lowercase b, and it signifies a note that's a half step lower than the natural note. Natural notes are represented by the letters A through G, so for example, a B flat would be a note halfway between A and B. A sharp, which looks like the pound or hashtag symbol, signifies a note that's a half step higher than the natural note. For example, A sharp would be a note that's halfway between A and B, meaning, yes, B flat and A sharp are the same note. There are 12 total notes in the chromatic scale, which includes every natural note from A to G and all of the accidentals, aka the flats and sharps. But if you'll notice, A through G adds up to 7, and 7 times 2 equals 14, not 12. So there are 2 accidentals that don't really exist. One of them is E sharp, or F flat. There's no note in the chromatic scale halfway between E and F, so if you see an F flat written in a piece of music, you simply play an E. Besides F flat, what other accidental in the chromatic scale doesn't really exist? A flat, B, C flat, C, E flat, or D, G flat. The answer is B, C flat. If you see a C flat, you just play a B. And if you see a B sharp, well then you're watching an episode of The Simpsons where Homer starts a barbershop quartet called the B Sharps. And if you didn't before, now you understand that joke. The hardest part about being a trivia podcast host isn't coming up with the interesting questions. It's staying hydrated. So when I get thirsty, I always reach for a cool, refreshing glass of
Question 9.
6 of one, half dozen of the other is an idiom that means 2 alternatives are basically the same. Or you might say 6 to 1, half dozen the other, which is the same thing. You can say either. The alternatives are equal. This idiom has been repurposed in pop culture many times over, including the title of an Emmy-nominated episode of a popular science fiction series. 6 of One is the second episode from the 4th season of this show and lost the Emmy for Outstanding Writing in a Drama Series to Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, the very first episode of Mad Men. I won't go into the details of the plot of 6 of One because it's too complicated to explain, and because I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't seen this show. It's really great. It's another official Dean Felix recommendation. I will, however, give you a basic synopsis of what this science fiction series is about. After a war destroys their planets known as the 12 Colonies of Kobol, The last remaining human survivors desperately flee an android race of their own creation, known as the Cylons. Dozens of civilian spaceships, along with a single military vessel, continually jump through space at faster than the speed of light, in an attempt to get away from the Cylons, while also searching for a fabled 13th colony called Earth. What is the name of this science fiction series? A. V. B. Colony. C. Battlestar Galactica. Or D. For All Mankind. The answer is C. Battlestar Galactica. Running from late 2003 through 2009, Battlestar Galactica was a reimagining of the 1978 sci-fi series of the same name. This show isn't just robots and spaceship battles. It goes deep on government structure, the building of a new civilization with competing religions, and there's a lot of Frankenstein mixed in. Space is a good setting for Frankenstein when you think about it, because with no oxygen in space, fire, not so bad.
You must retrieve the relic, for without it, we are all doomed. It can be found in the Forbidden Temple in the ancient city of Shun-Ten.
So, that would make this, Quest Shun-Ten then, huh?
You know what? Forget the relic. Just leave.
Okay, yes, there can be fire in space if it's in a spaceship or on a space station, but that makes me wonder what in space technically even means. Here on Earth, we are technically also in space as well. We just have an atmosphere and stronger gravity than a spaceship out in space would have. Fire reacts differently in microgravity environments. Here on round Earth, a flame shoots upwards because it heats the air around it, lowering its density, causing it to rise. This also displaces the cooler air around it, causing that air to sink down into the fire's base, refueling it. None of this would happen without gravity. But in microgravity, the heated air just stays put around the flame, causing it to burn more slowly and equally in every direction, creating a blue orb, instead of the flickering orangish-yellow flame that we're used to. We see that orangish-yellow color in our flames down here, usually because of soot, which glows brightly when it's heated. Soot is created by incomplete combustion when the carbon-containing fuel doesn't get enough oxygen. With complete combustion, like you get in microgravity, carbon burns blue. But you can also see this down here in regular gravity with a gas stovetop. If the burner is clean, the flame you will see is blue. If it's dirty with soot, like mine always is, it's orangish-yellow. You could also get an orange flame another way, by burning calcium. Different metal ions burn with different colored flames, and chemists will use a flame test to detect metal ions by the colors that they see. Let's say a chemist is doing a flame test and sees the color lilac. Gorgeous! What metal ion did the chemist just likely detect? A. Barium. B. Copper. C. Potassium. D. Sodium. The answer is C. Potassium. Potassium flames are a good source of the color lilac, but lilacs are not a good source of potassium. But spinach is. It also has those good natural nitrates instead of the artificial ones that are slowly poisoning me one hot dog at a time, or in Joey Chestnut's case, 76 hot dogs at a time. I think I need to pendulum swing back into healthier eating before they need to rotate me into an emergency room. That would be sharp. I'd like to look down at my stomach and see flat again, and less jiggle jiggle.
Bonus, 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 bonus question time.
In the movie Pulp Fiction, Vincent tells Jules about his recent trip to Europe, remarking on all the little differences from America that delighted him, particularly the names of classic McDonald's menu items. For example, in Paris, he says the Big Mac is called Le Big Mac. What American McDonald's offering does Vincent say that the Parisians call a Royale with cheese? Like always for the bonus question, no multiple choices, no countdown timer. If you don't already know the answer to this one, you can go down your own rabbit hole of trivia knowledge, or you can join me for next week's episode where I will have that answer at the beginning of the show. That's another episode in the books of Trivia-yeah. Another perfect score for you, right? Okay, I'll mark it down. I'll mark that down. Guys, of course, remember to like, share, subscribe, full 5 stars, leave a comment, share the pod with your friends. I really appreciate you helping me spread the word. I love making this pod, and I love having you guys here listening. And I hope to have you back next week for 10 new multiple choice trivia questions. TRIVI-yeah is written and produced by me. I am your host, Dean Felix. I also write all of the music and the silly sound bites you hear, so I hope you are enjoying it. And I look forward to having you here next week for a new episode of TRIVI-yeah! A Quality Yarn production.